Welcome back to the Samara podcast. I'm George, and once again, it seems like we're always with you, Aaron, today. It seems like we're always with you, but Aaron, as I'm sure you're aware, is our managing director of Samara Business Advisors, and he has over 20 years of knowledge of the dental field, and he's just a walking dictionary on dental. Really, it's fascinating having a talk with him. So, welcome back on the show.
Thanks, George. I've never been called a walking dictionary on dental anyway.
No,
so,
I know that's. I'm not sure if is that a compliment or an insult.
I don't really know. I'll take it as a compliment anyway.
Good,
okay. And I suppose even more kind of specific. I suppose you'd call me a walking dictionary on not dental but dental business. Okay, I'm no expert in dentistry. I'm no dentist.
The little asterisks in the corner.
Correct. Yeah. So I've seen so many situations with so many practices and so many problems that people have faced. Okay, and I think today I really want to talk about tax. Okay, we've just gone through the 31st of January deadline, and same questions every year we get. How can I save tax? Okay, how can I save more tax? Okay, and I think it's been even more pointed this year as a result of cash flow issues for people because of COVID. So how can you save more tax? Okay, so there's no, I suppose, magic wand here. Okay, but the most important factor here is, and you've got to be very careful in this world. There are lots of people who espouse that you can save more tax by investing in this or doing that or doing some exotic type of thing.
Yeah.
But I would really stress, be very careful, okay, on that. Very, very careful. I know clients who've done things like that in the past and they've got their fingers burnt. And I think maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, it was a very common occurrence for particularly dentists getting involved in such tax planning schemes. And I know many who have had the wrath of HMRC on them as a result of it, because they're all very questionable, and the people who organised them or promoted them have all kind of disappeared, and the person left carrying the can ultimately is the dentist who thought he was investing or doing something proper and legitimate, and obviously it turned out to be not so good in the first place. So yeah, absolutely. So you've got to be very careful about such tax planning situations. So now, subject to you avoiding that, okay, I suppose our next point really is to evaluate your tax structures. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of organisation have you been set up? Are you set up as a sole trader? Are you a partnership? Are you a limited company? Now, the tax rules change every year, and you should be really looking at what are the best options for you over the long term. And a few years ago, dental limited companies were very attractive. They still are, okay, not just for the tax benefit, but obviously for the limited liability status that you get with them as well. But there are certain options and certain better ways to run your business if it's set up in a company. If you're looking to grow a group or grow a business, again, you have to then start thinking not just having one company or having a mix of sole traders and companies, which I've seen, which is a mess. You want to ultimately grow it into a group, which is a corporate group, which has been planned and organised properly, which then minimises the tax basis or structure as well.
Okay.
Now, this is obviously not time. Every situation is different. I'm not going to bore you to tears on different structures today. But bottom line, you need to make sure that if you want to plan, you need to get good advice. Okay. Now, there are lots of good tax experts out there. In our team, we have people that can certainly help you, but plan and organise. But also remember, tax rules change every year. So what you might do this year may be different next year.
Not effective next year. Yeah.
Correct. So you got to be careful. Okay. But I suppose one of the real basic points of this is making sure that you've also are claiming for everything in your business. Okay. Right. And that goes back to organisation. Okay. I have seen so many dentists, whether it's an associate or a practice owner, that they haven't organised their affairs, financial affairs particularly well. So they miss out invoices, miss receipts, papers are in different places. And ultimately, if you haven't got those pieces of paper, your accountant can't make those claims for you. Okay. So really, really got to make sure that you're claiming for everything, and therefore you're organised. Now, how do you get organised? If you listen to another podcast, we've talked about kind of automating your finance function. Check that one out, and you'll understand how we do that using Xero, HubDoc, and a streamlined process. So, in a nutshell, tax is a hot topic in a dental business. Okay, dentists tend to earn quite well. Obviously, you'll get questions from people: how can I reduce my tax bill? But there are legitimate ways, as I said, by making sure you're deducting everything. Pension contributions is another, that type of thing. And then obviously structuring it right. Okay, so talk to the right people, seek out the right advice, and there will be people out there to help you on this.
Amazing. Because I am just a head in the sand, if you will, with tax. It's one of those things which I just shut a blind eye to and just don't pretend it exists. But obviously, there are ways you can legitimately, reduce your tax bill, as you just said, and it is really fascinating, actually. Not fascinating. Fascinating is the kind of wrong word, but it's interesting to know that there are ways you can legitimately do that. Because obviously, it wasn't there last year. There was massive amount of reports of footballers who are actually tax evading and all that lot, and unfortunately, they all got caught. Or fortunately,
Correct.
I should say, they all got caught. And tax evasion is everywhere. It's isn't it probably every business owner in some sort of sense, big. I'm thinking corporation wise.
Sure.
Probably tax evades and all that lot, because you look at Amazon for example. That their headquarters, Amazon UK for example, their headquarters aren't even in the UK. Is it? Where is it? Is it in Ireland or is it in Guernsey or something like that?
I think it might be Ireland. And I think you're right, George. I think ultimately it's these large corporations have dozens and hundreds of people in their teams. Okay, actually, I know some of the guys who actually work at Amazon who I trained with as accountants many years ago, and how they actually manage the taxes for such large corporates. Okay, and how they cleverly do it. They're all smart people doing it, but they're doing it within the letter of the law. Okay, but that goes back to governments.
Every ounce of
and that goes back to governments not being on top of this. When people like Amazon and others are ahead of the curve, they know what they're doing. But unfortunately, the average dentist or the average dental business doesn't have the resources of people like Amazon to be clever and inventive. So in the absence of that, you just need to be organised, seek the right advice from the right specialist, like with anything, okay? And you'll be able to then hopefully minimise your tax bill without the wrath of HMRC knocking on your door.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sitting down with me and talking to me about tax.
You're still awake, aren't you? You're still awake, though.
Just about. Saying that was not nodding off a bit, but
okay.
It's one of those things which people try to turn a blind eye to, but it's something that's so prevalent and so important. You actually take care of it and get on top of it and whatnot. So, no, thank you for taking the time to talk to me about tax and whatnot, and catch you on the next one.
All right. Cheers, George.
Thank you. Bye-bye.